Welcome to the Neighborhood Connect podcast show. My name is Joyce Cox, and I'm here with
Paul Young, the Director of Housing and Community Development.
Paul Young. He's our director, and we're happy to be here today. Today, our show is about the arts. You know, we hear a lot of rumors in the communities, arts in Memphis, whether it's making things pretty or singing. Memphis is a soulful town. So we have two guests today. And Paul, you want to tell us who they are?
Yeah. First, we have Miss Lauren Kennedy.
Howdy.
How you doing? How you doing, Miss Lauren, with the Urban Art Commission? And then we have
Miss Rebecca.
Yes, I don't know why I was getting ready to mess up your name, Rebecca, so I'm glad Joyce jumped in there to save
you.
me. Rebecca Hutchinson, Soulsville Extraordinaire. I don't even know what's the name of the organization you represent, but I know you represent that community so capably. So what's the name of the entity you?
Actually, I am the Soulsville USA site director through Community Lift, and
Okay.
I focus on the neighborhood association.
Okay. Well, yeah, see, I'll let you say it because I would have messed that up.
Okay. So I think we want to start with Miss Lauren. You want to tell us a little bit about what you guys do at the Urban Arts Commission?
Sure. So we turned 20 this year as an organization.
Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very kindly. And so we, for the last 20 years, have worked really closely with the city and a bunch of other private partners to facilitate public art projects all over town. So the city in 2002 passed an ordinance to create the Percent for Art program, where 1% of the capital improvement budget every year is allocated specifically to the development of public art, and we manage that fund for them. But then we also work with folks like Facing History and ourselves and the kitchen community, for example, to do projects with them. So pretty much we'll spend anybody's money on artists.
And what type of projects? I know that there are probably a number of notable projects throughout the community. What might someone identify with that you guys were involved with?
So, one of our first projects was the Cooper Young Trestle, going right over the train track. So that's a really notable one. We worked with the Convention and Visitors Bureau on the Isle of Memphis mural series, so we've been part of that. But it's a lot of murals and sculptures. We've done a lot of work in city parks, the library system. We worked with what was Memphis City Schools for a while. So we pop up kind of all over the place.
So I guess my question would be, how do you think those type of projects have impacted the communities?
Sure. I think that our experience moving through the world really matters, and I think that art positively impacts that experience. I think that when you spend money and energy and time in a place, that translates to the area around it. And I also think that we really have to take care of our artist community, because you're right, Memphis is a very soulful place.
Yes.
And I think you feel that when you come here. But that means that we got to take care of those people that provide some of that soul. And I think artists are a big part of that here.
Oh, okay. And Miss Rebecca, Soulsville USA.
Yes, ma'am.
That term is just known for being, it's all about the arts, singing, the blues, jazz, the students. So tell us, how the arts have really affected the Soulsville community.
Art has made a major impact on the community. The residents, as a part of the I Love Memphis initiative that Lauren talked about, we have an I Love Soulsville mural at the corner of Mississippi and Macklemore, and that sends a very positive message into the community, because we're all about building the self-esteem and the image of the residents of Soulsville. And that mural, through the art of that mural, helps to send that message. And another thing that the residents were instrumental in doing was engaging an artist in the community to create an art piece at the corner of Mississippi and Macklemore. There are 3 benches, and they read Soulsville USA.
I've seen that. I've seen that.
And residents come there and they sit there and they congregate and they fellowship, and it's just a positive thing in the community. So that's what the art is helping us to do. It's helping us to also redefine and stretch what the meaning of art is
Do some of the artists live in Soulsville?
We have a few artists that live in Soulsville, but we are working diligently to attract them to our community. We have a Memphis Slim Collaboratory, or Slim House, as we call it, on College, that is basically a mecca, if you will, for artists throughout the entire city. So we have artists that come there, that there's a recording studio in there, and they can just come in there and let their hair down. The residents can meet there and enjoy the art, because we also have art exhibits there in the Memphis Slim Collaboratory.
Oh, okay.
I think it's so cool to see Soulsville embrace art as a community development strategy.
Absolutely.
It really using it at the core of what you guys see is the way to revitalize that community. So I know you've been working in that community for a long time now. What type of changes have you seen in the community, whether it's physical or just the morale or the spirit of the residents in the community?
A lot of it has to do with the spirit of the people in the community. The morale, as you said. People are much more positive about their community. They're enthusiastic about it. They want to make things happen in the neighborhood. At one time, it was difficult to get residents to come to a neighborhood meeting. Now they're calling me and saying, Rebecca, when are we going to have another meeting in the neighborhood? Right. And all of this is through the interest that people have taken upon themselves to make a difference in their community. And it's all about resident empowerment. When they understand that the power lies within to make a change in their community, then they feel good about the place in which they live.
Right. So Lauren, I have a question for you, and this is one that I often get on a lot of different levels. But when we talk about art and we talk about resources that we have available in city government or as a whole, why should art be a priority for investments in this city?
Yeah, I mean, I get that question a lot too.
I know you do.
And I think about it that you gotta take care of people in different ways, right? You need to feed people. You need to put a roof over their heads. They need to be able to have clothes, keep them warm. And I think that art feeds us in a very particular kind of way too. I don't think that you can do any one of those things at the expense of the other and still end up with a whole person that feels loved on and valuable. And I think one of the most interesting things about this work is that it's not art happening in sacred art spaces. It's not in a building where you have to go through a marbled entryway, right? It's on the side of your community center. It's in your library. It's on the corner of your street. And I think that I hope that makes it feel more accessible for people, because I feel pretty aware that as a part of my privilege is that I am comfortable accessing those spaces and talking about art. But I think that we have a long way to go for more people to feel as that it's as accessible as I do.
A lot of cities have used graffiti as art. How do you feel about that?
I feel good about graffiti because I think we do need to get away from thinking of graffiti just in terms of like gang tags or something that's got this really negative connotation. Because I think there are some really interesting folks working on that kind of street level here and around the country, and we've seen where when people really embrace that kind of work and create these permission walls, which is what we now have on the Chelsea Ave, or what will be the Chelsea Avenue Green Line down the road. There are great examples of that in St. Louis and around the country. And I think that those become really interesting spaces that are really dynamic and they change, and people kind of get to continue to interact with them rather than having like a static project. Right. So, I like I said, we'd cover up the whole place if we could. So.
Everything would be artsy, huh?
Yeah,
everything.
Absolutely.
That's okay.
This is Neighborhood Connect. You're here with Housing and Community Development. We're going to continue the conversation. So I want to ask you that same question about graffiti. I thought that was an interesting question. And how are you seeing graffiti art in your community?
We don't have any graffiti art in Soulsville. However, my feelings are art is art. Right. And graffiti art does hit on that base grassroots level. And as long as it's sending a positive message out of the community, and it can reach that millennium generation and the younger generation, then I'm all for it. And it's a positive impact, and it can be a positive impact in our communities.
So how I know music is a strong form of art that you guys use in the Soulsville community. I've been to the Slim House and very impressed with all of the things that have happened there. What type of activities are you guys doing to hone art in that space?
Well, Memphis Slim House is a membership-based organization as well. The artists are members there. They pay a membership, a very, very small membership fee. But we're also trying to redefine art to attract the residents to the Memphis Slim Collaboratory, to engage them by having art exhibits that reach the residents of the community. Oftentimes, art can be kind of far out, and people may not understand it. But if you engage people, if you bring it to the level where they are, then you can engage them better. And I think that's what we're trying to do at Memphis Slim Collaboratory.
So does that mean that if I wanted to sing, I could possibly get some time to record?
You possibly can. You possibly can.
Sounds like a plan.
Just
might
come
have to
and
do
call.
that, Joyce.
You know, I do a little singing every now and then. So, Lauren, tell me, what are some of the boundaries of some of the projects that, or some of the communities that the projects that you've done? I know you mentioned Fraser. Tell me about some others where you guys have done some projects. Did you do the project over at Overton Park? The
bike arch?
Yeah.
No, that was actually initiated by the Overton Park Conservancy. But I do think it's good to point out that there are other folks, especially in the last 5 years, probably working in this space, and I think that's a really good thing. But so we've got work all over town because with that city funding, we were really supposed to think about all 7 city council districts. So we've got we're hitting work in all of them. We're working on something new at Audubon Park.
Wow.
We've got quite a bit of stuff happening. Wolf River Greenway has been a focus in the last couple of years. But then we are also excited, and I feel like this is getting at some of what Rebecca's been talking about too, but about empowering residents to be really engaged with this work. And so we're going to be adding to some funding this year to hit all 7 city council districts for artist-led blight remediation projects.
Oh, wow.
And looking to partner with neighborhood organizations and neighborhoods multiple neighborhoods within each council district because they're unfortunately drawn so big.
Yes.
To really start the conversation with residents, saying, tell us about the spaces in your neighborhood that you might want addressed. How might you want to use those? What kind of activations would you like to see? Showing some examples of projects in town, around the country, and really teasing ideas out with them before an artist comes to the table with an idea.
So Lauren, my barber is an incredible artist. And I don't say that just so he won't butcher my hair. I say that because he really is a great artist, and he does these very detailed drawings and pictures, and he draws on canvases and all those types of things. And one of the questions he always asks me is, how do I get plugged in? So if people out listening know of artists that can create, whether it's physical sculptures or things or or drawings or whatever it might be, how can they become a part of the work that you guys do?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I would start by checking out our website for sure. And we've got an opportunity to sign up for a newsletter there, because whenever we're putting out a project opportunity, we're sending it out to that list of folks, and so that's urbanartcommission.org. But I would say that particularly now is a really good time to be reaching out to us. I mean, we're a small but mighty staff, so you can actually get to a person. We don't have an automated system or anything like that. But because we're looking to cast our net pretty wide through both through the blight remediation work and then through the work we're doing with the Memphis 3.0 planning process. So we're looking to find people working in different scales and in different media to get engaged with what we're doing right now. So
And so, Rebecca, I want to ask you similar. How can people become more engaged in what's happening in Soulsville? What can they do if they want to be a part of the change that's happening over there right now?
They're welcome to call me, and my number is 901-504-5392, 504-5392. I have to think about that. But you're welcome to call me or hit me up on my email, which is Rebecca, REBECCA .soulsvilleusa@gmail.com.
Okay, great.
And I just want to make one thing. You don't have to live in Soulsville to be a part of this great work that we're doing. There's so many people who love Soulsville and have connections. It could be that they grew up in the neighborhood, their parents or grandparents still live there, or they once went to church there or still go to church in the community. So if you just have that type of connection, or you just want to be connected to the work that we're doing in the neighborhood, feel free to do so, because a lot of the people who volunteer are not necessarily residents of the community. They just have a love for the neighborhood.
And how many visitors, you may not know the number off the top of your head, but I know that Stacks has drawn a significant amount of visitors to the area, and I know that that's part of the community development strategy, is to identify some restaurants or other resources or things that might be able to be placed in the neighborhood to capture people while they're there. But do you know how many people come over annually?
In 2015, I don't know if the 2016 numbers are out yet, but 2015 there were approximately 50 to 55,000 guests that came to the Stax Museum of American Soul Music. And what the residents of Soulsville are trying to do, they've developed their own neighborhood plan, a resident-driven neighborhood plan. And a part of that plan is to create a cultural tourism industry to capture those residents. And in that cultural tourism industry will be tours that will be generated by residents who will be tour guides, maybe some of the students and the young people in our community to be tour guides, to also understand the history of the community. We're not just music. I want everybody to understand that we're also a very historical community in Soulsville. And so we're planning to have a neighborhood, we had a Christmas bazaar, which is the beginning, was like the pre-implementation of the neighborhood plan. So an outdoor marketplace is something that the residents are planning for, hopefully in the summer.
Well, I think you had a dry run of your tour when we did the Neighborhood USA conference in 2016.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the people that went on the tour of Soulsville and the South Memphis area, they talked about how wonderful the sites were, how wonderful and inviting the people of the neighborhoods were. So we were very proud of that. You're listening to the Neighborhood Podcast Show, and our guests today are Miss Lauren Kennedy and Rebecca Hutchinson, along with myself and the Director of Housing and Community Development, Mr. Paul Young. As one of the interns call him, Director Paul.
Or Paul.
Or Paul.
Paul is cool.
This is Neighborhood Connect.
Paul Young and Joyce Cox. We're here with Neighborhood Connect. We're here with Rebecca Hutchinson and Lauren Kennedy. And so we want to wrap up, and I want to just find out from you guys, what are you guys excited about for 2017? So Lauren, I want to start with you.
Well, I mentioned our anniversary celebration, and we're going to be working on the rest of the year, moving into some swanky new digs over in the Crosstown neighborhood in the spring. But particularly excited about partnering with the Office of Comprehensive Planning on the Memphis 3.0 process. So we're going to be hiring 3 artists to actually be part of the planning teams. Contract positions for a 14-month period, 25 hours a week, roughly $25,000 for that 14 months. To actually ask those artists to help with the process of that. There is going to be an opportunity for project funding beyond that $25,000, but that we want them to help us have really innovative and creative conversations about some tough topics, related to livability and opportunity, sustainability in our city. And that's just such a huge development in our relationship with the city that, I'm both terrified and excited about it all.
Do you know who those people will be yet?
We don't. We're actually about to open the application process up on February 1st.
February 1st. Okay,
so
good.
Definitely check back in and share all of that good info with your barber and all of his artistic buddies.
I will. He will definitely be in the mix, I'm sure. Ms. Hutchinson, what are you excited about for Soulsville?
I am excited about the implementation of our neighborhood plan, which is called the Soulsville USA Revitalization Action Plan, or SUSA-RAP.
SUSA-RAP.
SUSA-RAP. And then fundraising opportunities. The residents are planning for their second retreat that's going to be held next month, and their ideas are just coming out. Ideas such as having possibly a 5K race, an open-air market, another Christmas bazaar, and now they're even talking about a parade. So they're just really excited about what's going on in the neighborhood. And also, they're planning for a Taste of Memphis at Tiger Lane on April the 7th. Last year, we borrowed costumes from Stacks. So now, I don't know what the residents are planning now, but they are so excited about participating in a Taste of Memphis on April the 7th at Tiger Lane.
And we are excited to have you there.
Yes, we are.
Wait, Rebecca, if you guys have a parade, can we have some artists make a float for the parade?
Look, that would be great.
Okay, I'm in.
I'll let them know.
So we're making things happen right here.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
That's what we need.
I've always wanted to be on a parade float.
Oh.
Queen, huh?
Yeah.
Now is your chance.
Yes.
This is all
Finally.
about connecting.
Yeah, bingo.
Exactly. Well, I want to thank you all for being here today. This has been very good. The importance of art in this community, I think we need to drive that home.
Yes,
And like you said, Lauren, we have to do both and. It's not an either or. It's both and. We have to do art, and we have to take care of all of the other things that happen in this community. And so we're excited about all of the work that you guys bring to the table. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much, both of you.
And
Thanks for
thank
having
you.
us.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
And this is Neighborhood Connect with Housing and Community Development. Thank you for joining us. This is Neighborhood Connect, executive produced by the Division of Housing and Community Development, hosted by Paul Young and Joyce Cox for HCD, engineered, recorded, and produced by Kutsukian.